This is the Authentic Sex Podcast, real-life conversations about sex, pleasure and relationships. I'm your host, Juliet Allen. This episode of Authentic Sex is sponsored by the Juliet Pleasure Wand. The Juliet is a premium crystal pleasure wand designed to heighten your sexual energy, increase self-love and self-pleasure, expand your orgasmic experiences, and connect you to your true sexual essence. You can read more and purchase your own crystal wand by visiting my website, www.juliet-allen.com. Welcome back to Authentic Sex. Zoe Bosco, my beautiful, amazing friend and kinesiologist and magical witch. Welcome back. Thanks for saying yes again.
Oh, of course. I love doing podcasts with you.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Zoe has been on Authentic Sex a few times now. If you love this episode and you've never heard Zoe speak before and you want to learn more about what she shares in the world, then you can go to the show notes on my website for this episode and listen to all the other episodes. We've talked about so much stuff, covered so many topics. Today we are talking about something really interesting, juicy, and something we haven't spoken about before, which I'm so excited about. But before we talk about it, do you want to just introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a bit about you. You can even go into like, who do you live with? What did you eat for breakfast? What are you doing? Go for it. Random facts and professional bio.
Okay, professional bio and random facts. Here we go. Random facts. I live with my beautiful partner and his son and our new cat. We have a kitten, which is very exciting.
What's the cat's name?
Pluto, but we all call him Mr. Cat. He's delicious. So cute. He's adorable. He's a little rag doll. Yeah, the best. Live in Lillipilly in Byron Bay. Very happy. Professional resume. I'm a kinesiologist and a doula. And more recently, over the last 6 months, I've been combining all of my work into a new brand called Ovaries. And that will be launching very soon with my new practitioner training, which is very exciting in the realm of energetics. So to be here today talking about feminine energetics and everything that we're going to go into feels very exciting and aligned.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Thanks, Zoe. So today we're talking about turning on your feminine energy to activate pleasure and success. Such a great topic and something that you have dived deep into personally and what you support women to do, in their lives through your sessions and your workshops and all the things. So let's just dive straight in. If a woman wants to turn on their feminine energy and activate pleasure and success, how do they go about it according to Zoe Bosco?
Well, I guess I'll begin by building a little bit of context, so it's easier to grasp, I guess. The way I like to describe it is we all have a physical anatomy and we also have an energetic anatomy, and there's less awareness around our energetic anatomy and how powerful it is to work with. And I'm sure everyone or most people would be familiar with your energetic centers, like your chakras through your body. And when your chakras are balanced and aligned, we're more energetically vital and radiant and able to access more of our authentic nature and flow through the world in alignment, right? So as I've worked over the years deeply with the chakras, I started to go more into the feminine energetics specifically. And that's actually where we first met. Again, we'll probably reference this on a few podcasts, but on our womb retreat. And this was like the beginning of my journey deeper into the feminine portals, right? The feminine mystery.
Yeah. So I only laugh. I'm laughing. I just think, you know why I'm laughing. That womb, Zoe and we met on a womb retreat, like a 7-day womb retreat. And there's a funny kind of story as to how we connected, but we won't go there today.
We won't go
there today. Podcast episode.
No,
so keep going. Yeah.
Yes, well, I mean, that was like the beginning of this deep dive into feminine energy and understanding how to cultivate healthy feminine energy and access like a really vital, radiant energetic field to be more magnetic and to access more pleasure and success and align with all the things that I wanted to do. So over the years, I've started working with women specifically around their feminine energetics. And that really is going into the different aspects of the physical anatomy, like the yoni lips, the G-spot, the clitoris, the cervix, the womb, the fallopian tubes, and the ovaries, to actually cleanse and clear using kinesiology, the energy, the energetic anatomy associated and interconnect with the physical form. And it's just profound work. You know, we store energy in our physical anatomy, and there's this really powerful way to access blocked energy or limiting energy that's connected to the physical aspect. And when we liberate that, we actually start to have a real beautiful coherence between the physical and energetic anatomy, and we flow with our life force and our vitality, and we can access more of who we are. And each feminine center, like the yoni lips, the G-spot, the clitoris, and so on, they're associated with different resonances, like different flavors of energy, just like our chakras, like our heart chakra is associated with love and compassion and acceptance. The feminine energetics also have different resonances and different themes that they're associated with as well. And when you start to dive into them and connect with them, you really start to build a relationship with your feminine energetics that you can embody and work with. So it's profound and incredible, and I guess the start of an incredible relationship that you can have with yourself and your feminine energy if you want to go there.
Yeah, I love that. So let's dive into the energetics of like the physical anatomy, because we've never spoken about this on the podcast. Yeah. And in general, I just don't think it's something that people are necessarily aware of in the mainstream kind of culture. So
yeah, and there's so much. Well, there's so much talk and buzz around being radiant and magnetic and in our full pleasure, right? And in our authentic expression. And a lot of the time we don't know how to access that on a cellular level so we can embody it, right? So this has been like an incredible opportunity to explore, the feminine energy over the years through working with my own system and my client. So to begin with, we'll just go through it in a really linear way. It's not a linear process by any means. The feminine energy is non-linear, but we'll go through it in a linear way just for ease, I guess. But starting with the yoni lips, our outer and inner labia make up our yoni lips and beautiful entry point to the feminine mysteries, the feminine energy, the womb center. And the physical anatomy is associated with energetic anatomy. So the energy at this point really is associated with our natural and innate ability to live in a state of openness and trust. And so if we're not accessing that expression, that way of being, we could start to look at some energy blocks at this part of our physical body.
Okay.
Does that, yeah.
What would that, yeah, that's amazing. What would some of those examples of those energy blocks be for women?
How it manifests? Yeah.
Yeah, how does it manifest in our lives?
Well, a really easy way to, I guess, relate with this part of our body is the yoni lips act as like a physical and energetic boundary, a representation of our boundaries, the boundaries that we have with ourselves and others and life, and how well we are in alignment with our boundaries supports us to be in a state of openness and trust. So if we aren't accessing our natural ability to be open and trusting of ourselves and life and others, then it really does come back to our relationship with our boundaries. Are we able to say our true yes and our true no? And are we able to live in alignment with that and integrity with that in life? So if there isn't that beautiful, open, natural state of openness and trust, then we can look at the relationship with our boundaries, with ourselves and others.
And that's beautiful. What would you say for women listening who are feeling like, oh, wow, I definitely have a lack of boundaries, and trust is such a huge one for me to grasp and to master and move through. Um, what are some things that women can do to begin to address their lack of trust or the lack of boundaries in the world in general and sexually?
Beautiful. I mean, it all does come back to our connection with self, really, doesn't it? The quality relationship that we have with ourselves. And to begin with, when I started working in this way, I had to come up against quite a lot of disconnect and avoidance, right, with my physical anatomy and my feminine energy. So to begin with, specifically working with this feminine point, physically connecting with your yoni lips, like if you wanted to cup your hands over your yoni and just connect and bring your presence there, what you would do is you'd start to see the level of comfort there that you have. And if there's discomfort there, you'd be able, it's an invitation to start breathing into that discomfort and establishing a baseline of safety and security, just connecting with yourself there physically, not doing anything other than connecting, right? Hand on your yoni, and connecting with that aspect of your physical anatomy to tune into the energetics. And, over time, if you repeat that and invest in building a relationship with that aspect of your being, you'll start to notice that when you are connecting and your presence is there, you'll start to connect with that subtle inner knowing. Your subtle inner knowing, your intuitive knowing that's always there under the surface, but maybe we're moving too fast through the world and we haven't created enough time and space just to connect in with self. Or maybe we're not fully trusting ourselves and we're outsourcing a lot of advice from others and it's distorted our own connection with self. So over time and consistency, by just resting in connection with self and listening and being present, we'll start to tune into that subtle, intuitive knowing that is always connected to an inner yes or an inner no. It helps us navigate through life in alignment with integrity, and then that naturally supports us to be more open and trusting because we're connected with self and we're listening to self and we're honoring that inner knowing.
I can imagine, well, I know that because so many of us are now living in what feels like an increasingly busier and busier world, that most women wouldn't even prioritize the time to just sit there or lay and connect in like that. Like, I haven't done that for a long time. So this is a really good reminder for me to just take time, even if it's when I go to bed at night, which is the time when everyone's asleep, it's quiet, that I could connect in like that. So thank you.
Exactly. And come home to self, right? Just have a moment, a touch point of coming home to self. And, we are very used to bringing our hand to our heart, right? If we want to tune in with our heart and our felt sense and our truth, where we're really used to bringing hand to heart to connecting with. And this is just another part of our physical anatomy that holds wisdom, that by bringing physical touch and presence to, we can start to access that inner wisdom as well and feel that connection with self.
Yeah, beautiful. So we've talked about the inner and outer labia,
Your inner lips
/ your lips. Let's go to the next.
The next one is your G-spot. And your G-spot, the natural resonance, the natural state of being that we can access when the energetics of the G-spot are harmonized and in alignment and coherent and flowing, is gratitude. Gratitude and to actually access that state, we need to be able to nurture ourselves in the way that we truly need to be nurtured. So over the years, I've really seen an interconnected relationship between our ability to feel grateful and live in a state of gratitude with our ability to nurture ourselves and be truly nourished. And when we're nourished and we're in a state of gratitude, we're more receptive, our life force flows, and the quality of the G-spot and what it offers us is a free flow of our wisdom and wisdom that supports us to live in alignment with what we truly want to receive and connect with and be grateful for and be nurtured. So if you're not feeling a deep state of gratitude in your life, and we fluctuate in and out of these states, like I wouldn't want to, portray that you need to be grateful every moment of the day. We fluctuate in and out of these states. It's normal to. But if you're only able to access gratitude from the mind and it feels a little bit flat or disconnected, and you feel like you're just going through the motions of like ticking a list of what you're grateful for and you don't truly feel it, that indicates an energetic block at this feminine center, where you're most likely lacking in a true state of nurturing the aspect of yourself that really wants to be alive and blossomed in the world. And therefore there's a disconnect between that mind level gratitude and the embodied state of gratitude that we can actually feel and live through. And that is a state of magnetism as well. And we live in a state of gratitude, embodied gratitude. We're magnetic to the things that we want to receive, right? So this gate, or this feminine point, previously I've associated them with like feminine gates and portals, and when you connect with them, they open deep wells of wisdom within. So if I use the word gate or portal through this conversation, I'm just talking about the energetic point. Yeah,
I love that. And like you said, there's a difference between like getting your journal and just writing like 10 things I'm grateful for. Like there's a difference between that and actually having a felt sense of gratitude in our body. And like you say, it's so magnetizing, and it's such a key part of manifesting, is to feel gratitude, not just for what we have and what we are experiencing in our present life, but also for manifesting and magnetizing what we want to manifest in, like feeling gratitude for that before it's even come to fruition.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, if you want to call something in and manifest something and you're not yet in a state of embodied gratitude, you could look at what aspect of your life you need to nurture so you can come into a state of gratitude before you even receive the thing that you want to receive, right? It's all about maneuvering and working with the energetic so you're in a vital state as the most, I'm going to want to say most of the time, but also don't want to, put any high standards on this that feel unattainable, because we do fluctuate, right? It's natural.
Yeah, it is. So the lips, the inner and outer lips, the G spot, what's next?
Clitoris?
Yeah, the clit. The clit?
The clit. The clitoris, yeah. And this, so when the energy, the feminine energy is aligned at this point, we are more able to access a deep felt sense of devotion and pleasure. So to experience true pleasure, like pleasure, full spectrum pleasure in your life, right? We do need to have a connection to devotion in a way, and whatever that means to self, devotion to life, devotion to creation, devotion to love, devotion to whatever it is that you want to create and manifest. Cultivating the resonance of devotion and being devotional to living into a way of being that is aligned with whatever you want actually supports you to experience pleasure throughout the process, and not just as an end result when you receive what you want to manifest. Does that make sense? Yeah. So by bringing devotion online through your feminine resonance, it supports you to live in rightful pace and sacred rhythm. That's the language that I like to use at this feminine point, because when we activate devotion, say we want to manifest a new love in our life, right? And we want to open our heart and we want to align with a lover, a relationship. If you look at the resonance of devotion and how you're devotionally tending to yourself and your life to be able to prepare for that union, then you're going to be able to slip into a rightful pace, sacred rhythm, like honor the divine timing of your own unfolding, and not feel like you need to rush ahead or grasp at something, or move too fast that you don't even enjoy the process of calling in that new love, right? So the clitoris, when you think about the clitoris, it does have a rhythmic nature to it. And again, we're so conditioned to override and run fast and move too fast and even want pleasure too fast, right? Or want the next relationship too fast, or want the whatever we want to manifest, we want it fast, we want it here, we want it now, right? And if we're in that state, we're overriding this beautiful, exquisite experience of manifesting and actually preparing ourselves for that next union or that next manifestation, and being able to really receive it and experience the true pleasure of it, not just in the moment that it manifests and comes to fruition, but the whole journey of bringing it into form.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful reminder, and something that so many of us miss. We just want the results. We just want to get somewhere. But that journey, and it sounds so cliche kind of saying it, but it's like the journey that's where the magic lies, really, is like, yeah, it's such a great reminder for me and for everyone, every woman. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if if you're hearing this and you resonate with this point of the feminine and the feminine energy, again, you can use physical touch and presence and connection with this physical anatomy to tune into the subtle energetic wisdom that's in there. And the more I've worked with this point in the feminine, the more it's shown me where I am moving too fast, or where I am wanting things to happen too quickly, or I have some crazy expectation on some goal or something I want to create. And it's actually, forcing me to be in an overdrive state. And I'm not even in my body, really. I'm not even in that really beautiful sensual rhythm of moving through life in deep trust, nurturance, knowing that it's going to come into alignment if I'm living authentically and, devotionally to what it is that I want. So I'm speaking to the feminine points like individually, but then the more you work with them, they have a beautiful relationship and they support each other as well.
Yeah. So the next one is it the cervix?
Yeah, the cervix.
Yeah.
I have to interrupt this episode to let you know that today is sponsored by Pleasure School. Pleasure School is a monthly membership where together we study intimacy, conscious connections, and how to embody our true sexual essence. Every month, students of Pleasure School access members-only educational content across a wide range of formats, including written, audio, video, and guided home study. Pleasure School is led by myself, and I'm also joined by other teachers who are pioneering in the fields of sexuality, relationships, and holistic health. This is your chance to join a unique online school like no other in the world. Learn more and join Pleasure School at www.juliet-allen.com. That's JULIET-ALLEN.com.
Yeah.
And the cervix, like physically, the anatomical structure of the cervix connects with the heart as well, energetically. So the cervix and the heart are quite interconnected, and the cervix also is related to love, just like the heart. So this point, I've worked quite deeply with this point. I've had some physical manifestations that have come up in my life, in my body, that have forced me to look deeper at the energetics at this point. And the more I've worked with this point, it does when it's in balance and when it's in harmony, it's radiating, it's vibrating with love, right? And it supports us to align with that what we love, and supports our heart to be open and all of that. But the more I've worked with it over the years, it really does support us. The wisdom in the cervix supports us to come into true alignment. There's an alignment aspect to the cervix wisdom. So if you think about, the cervix does move around in the body. It can retrovert, it moves, right? It takes on different placements in the body depending on where we're at in our cycle. So it is attuned to our rightful alignment, true alignment, which is really fascinating wisdom to work with if you build a relationship here, because it also supports us to sync with the wisdom of the clitoris and check out, am I in my sacred rhythm? Am I in my rightful flow? And therefore I'm in my natural alignment when we come up to the cervix. And therefore I'm more in a state of love and open-heartedness, right? Rather than maybe shut down.
Sorry, I I just wanted to ask a question just to get clear. So when you say alignment, what do you mean by that? Like, you know, I have my own felt sense of what you mean by that, but I just wanted to get clear for others listening who perhaps don't use that word as much as you and I would use it.
Yeah, okay. So alignment is another word that associates with our authenticity and our integrity. So are we choosing to say yes to or no to things that we truly want to relate with or connect with? Are we living in alignment means, am I spending my days in a way that reflects my true authentic nature, what I truly want to be doing? So when you think of alignment being like an end result, we really do need to look at what our needs are, what our wants are, what our desires are, and are we being authentic to them, and are we living with integrity to them? And that supports us to be in alignment. And when we're in alignment in that way, magic happens, like synchronistic moments happen, like those beautiful, spontaneous eruptions of manifestation happen, you know, and it feels like magic and it feels like, oh my God, I'm so blessed. But actually it's because you're living in alignment, so your resonance is matched, right? Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's what I spoke about in the masterclass on the weekend, the art of sexual magnetism, was like being in alignment and congruency, integrity with, you know, your thought forms and what you want to manifest. And yeah, it's beautiful what you're saying. It's really actually in alignment with what I'm teaching at the moment and will begin to teach in the reset. So
amazing. And that's incredible, right? Because now you can I guess associate that with a new point of connection. So if someone resonates with this aspect of the feminine, you can bring your presence to your cervix intuitively and meditate with that point of your body and ask for reflections from the wisdom of your body. Am I in alignment? Am I in integrity? Am I being authentic in my life? And if I'm not, do I have the courage and the self-love? This is how it comes back to love. Do I have the self-love to bring myself back into alignment, right? Am I willing to love myself that much to choose the things that I need, want, and desire and live in alignment with those things, right? So we can be magnetic and sensual and all the things.
Yeah, cool. So we've done the lips, the G-spot, the clitoris, and the cervix.
Now we go into the womb, the sacred womb center, and you'll note that we're going in a linear way, and we're going deeper into the feminine mysteries, into the unknown, into the unseen. You know, and the womb is our center of creation. It's the home of our sexual life force, our creative life force, our emotional life force, and when it's balanced and aligned, we're more able to access what we truly long for, what we truly desire, right? And then have the courage or the ability to live in alignment with that and bring it and create it, right? So there's obviously a deep relationship between all of these feminine points. So if we're naturally more in alignment, we're naturally going to be able to access our creative life force and our creative potential and our creative power and bring those aspirations into form. So the womb center is our creative portal. It's the wisdom of creation. It's our center of vitality and life force and energy and wisdom that we can tap into. And again, just like bringing our hand to our heart, to tune into the wisdom of the heart, we can bring our hand to our womb, just over our lower belly, under our belly button, and tune into the wisdom there. And if we feel like we're experiencing blocks to what we want to create and bring to life, then we can tune into the wisdom of the womb here. And the wisdom of the womb, I feel like she has a particular voice. Like she's all-knowing, all-wise, all-powerful, and will give us the wisdom that we need in the moment. You know, it's usually very short and simple and to the point, because the womb gives us the information, the wisdom that we need in the moment to be able to live in alignment and soften into our sacred rhythm and be nurtured and be in an open state of trust, because that helps us to birth the things into the world that we want.
What about, so when I speak of the wisdom in the womb, I always have people ask, what if I don't have a physical womb anymore? What if I have gone through menopause and I'm not, cyclical in traditional sense? What would you say to that?
I love this question because we have an energetic womb, right? These women have experienced the physical anatomy, no longer there, or no longer operating and working in the way that they're used to, right? So they're going through a major sacred rite of passage and a transition there, and their relationship with their womb is changing. But the energetic resonance, the energetic anatomy exists. It's always there. So whether the physical anatomy is there or not, you can tap into the wisdom. And I'd even go to say everyone has an energetic womb because we all birth through the womb, right? So I believe everyone is able to tap into the wisdom of the womb through that energetic imprint.
Would you say even men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, tapping into the energy, of course, like that's our original home. It's where we grow into form. So I believe every man would be able to tap into the feminine wisdom through connecting with the energetic womb, which is powerful and exciting for healing, collective healing and evolution.
Yeah, cool. So is there any more that we
There's two more. There's two more. So then we go to the fallopian tubes. So the fallopian tubes.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, the fallopian tubes. And when I've worked with the energy of the fallopian tubes, obviously, tuning into the physical anatomy to tap into the energetic nature of the fallopian tubes, it really has revealed that it's aligned with the state of union and surrender. So if you think about potentially what can happen in the fallopian tubes, that's where conception can happen. It's where the union of the egg and the sperm happens. Most of the time it can also happen in the womb, but it's where that magnetic life force happens, where the masculine feminine energy is drawn together. So the fallopian tubes really hold the wisdom around union between you and your dreams, or you and your desires, or you and your aspirations, or you and another. It holds the wisdom that's going to support that quality of life. So, and often the energetic quality to nurture and connect with that's going to support union is the state of surrender. So if we can surrender into union energetically, we're more likely to be able to soften into receptivity and receivership of the things that we desire.
Wow, this is big. I've got something big landing, and I can't believe that you and I haven't gone down this rabbit hole. But I only have one fallopian tube.
Yes.
Because I had an ectopic pregnancy, which so for those listening, what that means is the sperm and the egg meet in the fallopian tube, and then they don't continue their journey down through the fallopian tube and into the uterus. They get stuck in the fallopian tube, and the cells begin to, the baby begins to grow in the fallopian tube. And then what that leads to is, like, a baby can't grow in a fallopian tube. So it creates a lot of pain and discomfort, and often leads to the fallopian tube having to be removed. And so this happened to me when I was in a previous relationship with a woman. And I haven't actually spoken about this. I don't think I've spoken about this on publicly, but I was in a long-term relationship with a woman, and we wanted to have a child. And so we chose to go through like a fertility clinic to do that. And we had a known donor, a friend, who donated his sperm. And so I got pregnant, but unbeknownst to me, it was an ectopic pregnancy. So I went for my scan, and the gynecologist was like, "There's no heartbeat, blah blah." Huge time, like traumatic time. And so I ended up finding out I had an ectopic pregnancy, and my fallopian tube was removed. But upon reflection, without going too deep into the whole experience, I was not in a state of deep surrender. I found the fertility clinic experience so out of alignment with my body, my intuition, everything. Like reflecting, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck was I doing? Like, what the fuck was I doing? I was going against everything, all my values, and I was also in a relationship that, if I were to be completely honest, like, I loved her deeply, but I was definitely not listening to my womb and my intuition, which was, this is not a forever. This is not your person. But I so deeply wanted to continue to have children, and she was a beautiful woman and would have been a beautiful mother, and so honoring her, and like I did think that at the time that would be the right choice in that way. But anyway, everything you're saying about the fallopian tube, I'm like, tubes and the energy behind it, if I had known it back then, oh my God, could have definitely prevented that experience. And like, I am so grateful for it. Like, it's just all the experiences I really have embraced and I'm grateful for. But I'm not surprised, and I'm also not surprised that little soul was like, no, not going any further. This does not feel safe, and this does not feel right. I'll check you in a few years. You just check in a few years. I'm out. I'm returning to the mystery, and you need to sort your shit out, Mum, because this ain't happening this way.
And could I ask a couple of questions there? Because it's really powerful what you're sharing. And as you're sharing about the energy of the fallopian tubes, and as you're speaking, you were really speaking to the energy of the other feminine points as well. Like, you weren't in alignment. You loved her deeply, right? But you weren't in alignment, which is the cervix energy. And I'd be curious to reflect on it through the energy of the other points. But it really is speaking to the wisdom of the womb and the wisdom of the cycles of creation, and how they do manifest through us to support our awakening. So I guess the question I'd love to ask, from that experience, was it catalytic in nature? Like, did it have a catalytic impact in your life where it did throw you into looking at where you were in alignment or what you were choosing? Did it wake up the other points of your feminine, even unconsciously, and have an impact?
The experience of an ectopic, absolutely. Like, it was just such a turning point for me where I was like, fuck, like, what is this? Like, what am I choosing? Like, I needed to get really honest with myself, and which was really confronting, and led to heartbreak and all the things. But I think from that moment onwards, our relationship, it was the beginning of the end, because I got really honest with myself. So I'm grateful for the experience, because it showed me so much about myself. And
absolutely. And if you think about the energy of the womb, which the fallopian tubes are so deeply connected with, the womb cycles us through that death, birth, rebirth, right, within ourselves and in our life. So it does also support us to release and let go of the things that we're not in alignment with. And the womb center can be really confronting. It's like the clear mirror that we often don't want to look at, but sometimes events like this happen to support us to look at things that we don't really want to look at, because it's time. It's like a future timeline is calling. And it's a really powerful conversation to be having, because I work a lot with women in conception and I support a lot of women through miscarriages and multiple miscarriages, and the journey of bringing a soul into this world is so potent and profound. And
well, we worked together, didn't we?
yeah,
To Soul's conception, like Nick and I headed off on a trip around Australia. Our intention was to conceive Soul. And remember, while I was on the road, we did like 9 sessions, I think it was, to clear every single gate in my body to like an energetic portal in my body to his conception.
Powerful, right?
Goosebumps, yeah.
So powerful. And that's, it's really important to speak about this, because the path of conception, when we're not aware of the power in the feminine energetics, it can be very scary and overwhelming, and you can feel quite lost and disconnected, and you're searching. I think it puts you on a path of searching and seeking for a deeper connection with self and life and the way of creation and manifesting. And I know discovering this wisdom and opening to this wisdom has helped me tremendously to live in alignment and honor my authentic nature and create the things that I truly want to create. And it's an anchor point through the process of life that is a mystery, that's always going to be serving up experiences that are there to support support us to evolve in a catalytic way, right? And even if we go a little bit further to the last feminine point I want to speak to is the ovaries, right? The ovaries hold our potential to create, and the potential to have new experiences and possibilities. And they have quite an ecstatic nature, like that ecstasy, that bliss, that universal frequency of euphoria and love and potential. Like the ovaries are the home of everything that we want to create and birth in life. So that potential of that conception that we're speaking about for you, it started, but it stopped in the point of flow and union, right? To initiate a change in your life, which was really powerful and supported you to be where you are now. So through my work in this way and with women, I have deep trust in the wisdom of the feminine energetics and the wisdom of the womb. And I feel like we're always experiencing the things that we need that are going to support us to come into true alignment and access our authentic nature and live in alignment with the things that bring us pleasure and like the success of the things that we want to create and manifest in our life, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just feel like we could talk for hours, but I also feel like this is a beautiful taster of like these topics, and probably enough for women and men to learn about and marinate in and think and reflect on, because there's a lot
there's a lot there.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I guess just on that note, there is a lot, and I would say if you are listening to this and a specific part of the feminine energy resonated with you more than the others, lean into that, because there's most likely some wisdom and medicine in that particular point that's calling for your attention and your presence, and start building a relationship with your feminine energy.
And when you say lean into, so for example, if somebody was really drawn to the energy in the cervix, would you say like begin to explore that area of your body more through self-pleasure or even just like connection? It doesn't need to be like suddenly you've got your crystal dildo out every night and you're like going for it, but just more so bringing more awareness to that part of your body. You can bring your crystal dildo out and I can help you with that from lighting the crystal, but
Absolutely. Yeah. For example, the cervix, if that point of the feminine energy really resonated with you, you can connect with it, like Juliet's saying, physically. And that might even be just connecting the point of the crystal to your cervix and breathing with that newfound presence and awareness that you have after listening to this, and bringing in the resonance, the wisdom of that point, which is alignment and love. Like, am I lovingly living in alignment with what's true for me? I feel like the cervix really also holds the resonance of truth. It's going to reveal to you what your truth is, and then it's going to invite you into to that alignment through the resonance of love, right? So it would be there's so many different ways you can connect to it physically, but also just intentionally, even if you just wanted to get your journal out after listening to this and reflect on your relationship with alignment, relationship with self-love and truth, and feel into, am I in integrity here? And that's enough also.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I love you and appreciate your wisdom and your experience in this area and everything that you have to share. If people want to explore your work more, what's your Instagram and your website?
So I have my personal Instagram is Zoe, Zoe _Bosco, Bosco. And then I have a new beautiful World of Energetics launching, and that is through Overe. That is overe.co. And that's the same for Instagram and website.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Thanks,
Zoe.
Pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Authentic Sex Podcast. If you love the show, please hit follow wherever you are listening and leave me a review. And if you really, really, really loved it, please share the podcast with your friends, family, and social media followers. Doing this together as a community, we can make an impact and support the world to feel more sexually empowered and free, and just get the word out about these free resources. If you'd like to join me for daily updates and inspiration, you can find me on Instagram, which is at Juliet, Juliet _Allen, ALLEN. And you can also head on over to my website to join any of my offerings, Pleasure School, the Intimacy Blueprint, and you can also treat yourself to the Juliet Pleasure Wand at www.juliet, Juliet -allen, ALLEN.com.